Hi, I'm Bob Snyder, and thank you for joining us for exploring the latest services with KNX. This panel talks about the very latest possibilities to create a more sustainable world with KNX, including a project with Red Cross and an interesting energy project in Finland. My guest speakers today include from KNX, the CTO, Joost de Marest, and also from the company of iHouse, the Chief Operating Officer, Stefan van Appen, and Renee Reek, who is Global Product Manager and Innovation Architect at Alexander Meyer GmbH. Thank you, panel, for joining us today, and we look forward to exploring the possibilities to create a more sustainable world with KNX. We'll start our panel discussion with Joost. Joost, you're the CTO at KNX. Can you tell us about some of the latest services that KNX provides to create a more sustainable world?
As you know, KNX has a very good background of ensuring interoperability between different products of different manufacturers and different applications. Lighting applications, HVAC applications, security applications, etc., all works perfectly together thanks to the third-party certification which we have, and the quite stringent certification rules. Of course, what we used to do in KNX is that when we made the bridge between this coherent KNX installation and the IT world or the IP world, we used to have a proprietary solution which was called KNX Net IP. So it was a very specific KNX solution to make the link between the KNX Classic world, as I would call it, and the IT or the IoT world. What we actually did was the messages that are transported on the Classic system, we simply transported in an IP frame up to the IP level. And of course, the IT guy sitting at the right end or the north end of this tunnel would have difficulty, of course. First of all, he is confronted with the KNX protocol again in his beloved IP frame. And that is a problem for him because he needs to study the KNX protocol in all its features. And that's actually what he doesn't like to do, because in the IoT world is very fond of data, but it's not very fond of protocols. So the IoT world wants to simply be able to talk to a KNX installation, and this installation should actually serve on a silver platter just simply the data. So is this a light being turned on in the bathroom? Is this a speaker, a voice recognition system I'm speaking to? And would I like to increase the temperature in the room? That's what this IoT world wants to learn, and how this is technically done below in the KNX system is of little importance. So the data needs to be there, and also the data needs to be understandable to what we call third party. This third party is typically not a KNX, someone knowing KNX or a KNX product, but it is a third party wishing to just tap into that data and realize services. Because, of course, as you know, in the world out there, there are many, many businesses that thrive these days on the simple, having simple or offering things on top of data. And that's actually what KNX Services wants to do. It wants to take the data which is out there for you thanks to the KNX Classic system, and offer it to you, and you can build on top of that the data additional services. That's where we came to from the Classic system over KNX Net IP to KNX IoT services. That's a little bit in a nutshell why we did this exercise. This does not mean, of course, that the old, between quotation marks, solutions based on KNX Net IP are not working. They work. They are mostly manufacturer specific. But what we want to move to is towards a manufacturer independent way of also providing this data for later services. That's what we want to do with KNX IoT.
Thanks, Joost. Now let's move to Stefan van Appen, who's the CEO of iHouse. Stefan, tell us about your latest project with the Red Cross.
Yeah, thank you, Bob, for giving me the opportunity to talk about that project. But before I go into the details of what we do there with the German Red Cross, just give me a minute to talk about iHouse as a company, what we do. iHouse is a software company, and we are developing and operating an IoT platform with a strong focus on buildings. And as a platform provider, we focus on all major and essential building blocks, such as the application layer, user interface, connectors to sensor and services, of course, the security and data protection layers, but also a big focus on data storage, analysis, and visualization. And that really means for the smart building sector. And our goal is especially not just to take sensor data just for the sake of having them, but we want to derive meaningful instructions and recommendations based on this sensor data in order really to deliver value to our customers and partners. So in our segment, we are one of the very few also with a full KNX integration to our platform. And that is our differentiating factor, our unique selling point, as you will. So, and that was also the base really, to start these cooperations with the German Red Cross. The whole thing started back in 2019 as a means, of the German Red Cross to go digital. So they founded a new branch, the Henry Innovation GmbH, to bundle all of the digital efforts within the German Red Cross. And, Henry doesn't mean a lot to many, but Henry Dunant was actually the founder. So they're taking the first name of the founder, and that is, in the name of that company. And also the first service that we developed within this corporation is called My Henry. And what that is a voice controlled service, because voice control becomes really the user interface of choice. More than 30%, of people in the developed countries are actually using voice control today. So My Henry actually runs, as a everyday helping service or helping assistant through your personalized list of intimates before it ultimately connects to the help center of the German Red Cross. And what was initially set as a pilot project is available today for download in the Amazon Alexa stores. So it's a service that is out in the market. But what is more important is that My Henry is actually the first component to the ASL. And ASL is an abbreviation, and that stands for the Assistance System Smart Living, which is a revolutionary step towards a modern ambient assisted living system. It's developed to be easily deployed in new as well as in existing buildings. And the main thing of that service actually is a way of actively or passively trigger emergency calls So actively, I mean, you all know that today, the person in help actually pushes a push button, with this big red push buttons, and calls for emergency. And that now with our service can be, a KNX bottom on the wall, or can be any other KNX sensor or scene or whatever it is. So what we do is now we supplement this signal with useful sensor information from the premises and add that to the emergency call in order for the helping side having a full picture of what's going on there in the household. Passive, in turn, actually means that we run an anomaly detection service in our backend. You can think of, there's no movement for a certain time, or a cooker is on without any presence at home. So this usual emergency situations when you have people in their homes, in care homes. So what we actually do is we're going to take a fusion of sensors like presence, switches, door or window sensors, smart watches, or whatever sensor you can envision, and actually fuse that together for an assistant service. So, but whatever sensor you take, being it wireless or wired, the best choice in reliable, flexible, and high quality signals are, of course, these KNX-based sensors. And even more, a household with a KNX built-in has a pervasive connectivity of sensors, which is perfectly suited for projects and services like we do it here with ASL and the German Red Cross. Right. So, in general, our service connects the KNX ecosystem with the world of the Internet of Things. And if you want to become part of that exciting journey with your perfectly matching sensors or actors, get in touch with us, and we will see on how we can work together. Same is true actually if you are in the building sector, such as property management for new or existing buildings, or any other related services, being it in the home care market or any other service around buildings. Get in touch with us, and we will be happy to jointly improve and develop these services even further. So, thank you very much, Bob.
Thank you very much. And now it's time to talk to Renee Reek, Global Product Manager and Innovation Architect at Alexander Meyer GmbH. Renee, you have a very interesting project revolving energy management in Finland. Can you share that with our audience?
Hi, Bob. Thank you for having me today. And it's a pleasure to introduce my project, or our project, what we're actually having with KNX in Finland, which is quite interesting from the smart city point of view, I would say, because what we are doing here together with our partners in Finland is a connection between the utility companies and the actual building. So everything in the building is actually controlled by KNX devices. So the lighting, the shading, the heating, the HVAC, everything is controlled by KNX products. And we do have a so-called building server, and by using the SIM protocol, which is an ISC standard protocol, we are exchanging these data with the utility companies. That gives, on one hand, the utility companies the ability to offer services to their owners, tenants of the apartments. On the other hand, they do have the ability to actually do really demand control and turn off loads, or even when they have too much energy, then they can actually turn on, for instance, the sauna bath up there and heat and preheat the oven. So it's a quite interesting project, because it's on the way from the smart building actually into the smart city.
Perfect. Renee, nice to meet you. Thank you for joining in.